Now here's a discussion we didn't think we were going to end up having ahead of 2019, looking at the Formula One driver market. But Ferrari appear to have moved all of their pieces again, and what we thought was a done deal for Kimi Raikkonen to stay after initial speculation that their junior Charles Leclerc would get the drive, it's now swapped back around, and after the Italian Grand Prix weekend it appears that Leclerc's in pole position, ironic because Raikkonen just took pole at Monza, to take the Finn's seat. Ed Straw and Ben Anderson are here to discuss this with me. Ben, what's changed? Why are we suddenly talking about the move that we thought was off over the summer?
Well, the main thing that's changed is the management at Ferrari. Obviously, the unfortunate, untimely passing of Sergio Marchionne left a vacuum at the top of Ferrari for a time, and it seems that we're in this holding pattern of, well, who's going to replace him? What will they make of decisions he's made and the path that he was setting the team on? It was him making the case for Leclerc's promotion earlier in the season. He'd said in the winter that if Raikkonen didn't perform to the level expected, then it was time to go with a young driver.
Ed, it does mark a change for Ferrari to take a guy who's only going to have 1 year of F1 experience by the time he gets the seat. You followed Leclerc's development very closely this year. You have the fortunate or unfortunate role of doing our Autosport driver ratings after every race, and this year we've been allowing our Autosport Plus readers to rate the drivers as well. And for a little period ahead of the summer break, Leclerc was actually neck and neck with Sebastian Vettel as #1 in the average ratings for the season. He's had a bit of a dip since then, but what's your take on how he's performed, and do you think he's ready for this?
Yeah, he's 100% ready. There's a saying that if you're good enough, you're old enough, aren't you? Yeah, okay. In an ideal world, Ferrari would plug him in with 3-4 years of experience and just some of those edges that will be there rounded off. But they've got this asset who has proved himself. He's been getting points in a marginal points car. He's picked up big results when it's been on the table, such as at Baku. He'd had a great result at Silverstone as well. Had the car not given out when he was set to undercut his way past Nico Hülkenberg for a Class B win, as we like to call the midfield battle. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for them. And also they need to have a driver there who's able to kind of keep a bit of pressure on Sebastian Vettel. He's kind of had it all his own way at Ferrari with Raikkonen as his teammate over the past few years, and I think it'd be important to do that. And the fact that Vettel's made a few key errors this season means that it's probably worth them doing something to kind of keep him on his toes and also try and bring a driver up to the level where he can fight for a world championship. But he's fast enough. He can string together races. He's a good qualifier. We've seen him give as good as he gets in wheel-to-wheel racing. So it makes perfect sense. If you don't put him in now, then you have to ask, well, when are you going to put him in? Yeah, you could have another year or two and he'll learn a little bit more. But I think it's very, very easy to look at what drivers haven't done. And drivers who are inexperienced by definition won't have had certain challenges. I think you have to look at what he has done. That's the really important thing. And also look at what he's replacing. You know, if you had 2 Sebastian Vettels in the car, it'd be a different situation. If you were looking for a lead driver for Ferrari, it would be a different situation. But Kimi Raikkonen, stellar as his performance was in the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, great lap to get pole, even with a toe that Vettel didn't have through various strange bits of mismanagement. He could have got a toe from Hamilton, but I'm digressing there. But they're replacing a driver who isn't a championship shot in Raikkonen. He won't win a world championship. So even if Leclerc goes in and needs a season to kind of play his way in and build up experience and won't be a world championship threat, you've still got somebody who's going to do a good job. And I think you've got somebody whose peaks will probably be more, not necessarily higher, but more regular than Raikkonen's peaks. He's got 2 poles in the last 18 months, Raikkonen, in a car that's regularly had shots at poles. So I think you can come up with reasons not to put somebody in, but I'd like to put Leclerc in there. It's the #2 seat, so it's just the perfect scenario for him. They know what they need to see from him, and he should be well placed to replace Vettel, because otherwise Vettel goes on for a few more years. Leclerc sits around driving for Sauber or Haas or whoever, and they say, oh, we need a lead driver now. Oh well, Leclerc hasn't won any Grand Prix because we've left him sat in the midfield. So what do you expect? You can create your own problems. Put him in the car. He'll if the car's good enough, he'll win you a few races. He'll be a good support driver for Vettel, and then he's got a platform to emerge as a championship contender down the line. And if he does better than that, then it's only going to be good for Ferrari, because then suddenly they've got another championship contender. So for me, it's a no-brainer. But I've always believed you want to back youth, because you can always be conservative, but you don't win in racing by being consistently conservative.
Ben, what does this mean for Kimi Raikkonen? We saw one of those rare peaks that Ed's talking about during the Italian Grand Prix weekend. Pole position, a great drive to lead the race for a long time against Lewis Hamilton until his tyres really gave up on him. Is there a place for him in F1, or is this the end?
Well, I think there is a place for him in F1 if he really wants it, but I imagine more likely it's the end now. I mean, he always makes no secret of the fact that he's in F1 to win, and Ferrari's his
Must have been
best.
a painful last 5 years or so.
Of course, yeah, but you can see the pain in even those good races where he's finished second or third. He's had a run of podiums. You can see he's disappointed. Like, he doesn't want to be there to make up the numbers. He wants to win. He's got a championship contending car. He's maybe in barely outside championship contention, and that will frustrate him. He was linked with a switch move, possibly even in season at one point in the summer, swapping with Leclerc. And there's a certain romanticism to the idea that Raikkonen returns to the team that he began his Formula One career with, much more relaxed, much more the style of team that he would enjoy competing with, but they can't win races. So unless Formula One fundamentally changes and you've got 10 teams all capable of winning races...
Which feels a little way off.
Yeah, quite a long way off, and even Kimi Raikkonen probably can't extend his career that long.